This is where I'm from, this is where it started. This is what becomes of the broken-hearted. This is going out to those departed from a life so young it was barely started.
Honey, Jansen Donosan, Wasaksi and Donjaba, Migize and Dodem, Migwachgana Wabna Meg Nishnaabemdaa, Noongo Minoa. Today we're going to be going over Giizkan. And Giizkan is a VTI verb, and that means, VTI means that you can use an object with this verb. So Giizkan is a command that you can use, and that means you singular take off an article of clothing, basically. So Giizkan. So on its own, that could be used and that could be fine. Giizkan, but that would mean you singular take it or them off or that off. With this command, it can be used for a sentence with a singular object or plural, and it doesn't change. Unlike how when you're making statements in Nishnaabe, most of the time you're going to have to make that whole sentence plural to match your plural objects, or singular to match your singular objects. So, for example, if you say Gabubgoyan Giizkan, that means take off your shirt, and that's just a singular object. Now, if you wanted to say like shoes, you can say Gamaksanan Giizkan, and that would mean you singular take off your shoes. And the command doesn't change. You don't have to change it to fit the plural object in your sentence. So this is just the singular form with one person. I also wanted to mention that mainly you'll probably hear the article of clothing that you're talking about at the beginning of the sentence. The way the speaker that I was most recently talking to was describing it is she spent some time in France. I guess it's similar to French in the fact that like the objects or whatever you want to call them go at the front of the sentence, whereas in English they're at the end, like take off your shirt, right? So most of the time she would say those commands that she was teaching me and I would be asking questions about with the articles of clothing at the front. However, she still understands the commands and sentences if it's done in the same way of English, like where the clothing that you're talking about is put at the end. But the thing is, when I listened to her and wrote down things and asked questions and then gave my own examples, is like I would forget to put in a demonstrative pronoun when I would try new sentences and ask her questions. So say for example I would say like Giizkan Gabubgoyan, take off your shirt is what I would say. And when she would go and say it just naturally, she would say Giizkan iu Gabubgoyan. She would have a demonstrative pronoun when the object is last in the sentence. So Giizkan, demonstrative pronoun, iu Gabubgoyan, the object, your shirt. So Giizkan iu Gabubgoyan is how I would hear it when she was speaking naturally. But however, she would still understand what I was trying to say, and she would say that was fine, and that's good to use it that way. But since noticing that pattern, or that how a natural speaker speaks like that, I've been trying to do that as well. But sometimes I forget, and I'll forget the demonstrative pronoun, but you'll still be understood. Anyways, so if you wanted to put, the whole point of that was, if you wanted to put the article of clothing at the end, you usually include a demonstrative pronoun. And the demonstrative pronoun would have to match if your object that you want to talk about is plural or singular. So, Giizkan iu Gabubgoyan, take off your shirt. And if you want to talk about multiple things like shoes, Giizkan niu Gamaksanan. Giizkan niu Gamaksanan. The demonstrative pronoun is the demonstrative pronoun for plural inanimate objects, niu, and then maksan is pluralized as well. So take off your shoes. But the one thing that stays the same throughout these different examples is Giizkan, and that doesn't change. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you wanted to talk to more than one person, and say, like, I have 2 daughters, so sometimes I'll use this, Giizkamuk, Giizkamuk, and that means all y'all take it or those off. So same thing here. It could be for a singular thing or multiple things, but Giizkamuk stays the same. And the same thing goes for the order. You can have it at the front and then have the command follow. So whatever you want to talk about. Or you can have it in the other order where you have the command first, followed by a demonstrator pronoun, and then the clothing. So some of the examples that we went over, I noticed that with the noun, you have to make some changes to it to say you plural's coats, or all y'all's shoes, or it's difficult for me to say in English, but in Nishnaabemdaa, we would do that to our nouns. So we have to add different word parts to our nouns. So for, let's say, bisquagen for now, coat. You would add a G sound in the front, g, and then bisquagen, or whatever noun you want to talk about, and then iwa at the end. Gabisquagenwa or Gabisquaganawa. Some places might drop that I, some might keep it. So Gabisquaganawa Giizkamuk. All y'all take off your coats. And then those word parts will change if you're telling those people to take off plural objects. So say the shoes, you're telling a couple people that enter your house, take off your shoes. Instead of a wa at the end, it would be wan. So we'd take muksen, and then we'd have the G at the front, just like we for the bisquagen example. So g, muksen, and then instead of just iwa or wa at the end, we would have iwan, because it's plural. Each person's taken off more than one thing, because they each have, well, everybody, well, usually wears more than one shoe at a time. So gamuksen wan Giizkamuk. Gamuksen wan Giizkamuk. Take off your shoes. Like, all y'all take off your shoes. Now the last one is you're going to include yourself with whoever you're talking to. So Giizkanda. Giizkanda. And this one you might use, especially if you're saying with little kids, because as a teacher and as a parent, you model a lot of things to young ones so that they understand and see what you mean. So Giizkanda, let's take it off. So with the noun in this form, to say ours, you would change it again. So there would be the G at the front, g, then whatever noun, piece of clothing that you want to talk about, we'll say shoes again. So g, muksen, and then inanin at the end. Gamuksen inanin Giizkanda. Gamuksen inanin Giizkanda. Let's take off our shoes. Ahausa, Mia, Chimliuchka Bizindoyak.
This is where it started. This is what becomes of the broken hearted. This is going out to those departed.